Hello there, and welcome to Creative Possibilities Recap with my Collage Art Studio. Today we're wrapping up the week by going over the projects that we completed, and this week we focused on the Jeweled Leaves color palette. So the collage papers in this palette are shown here on the sampler page, and this page is a free download on our website. So I encourage you to go ahead and print one of these out so that you can start exploring our kits. So the Jeweled Leaves color wheel has analogous colors. So analogous colors are colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. And the colors included in this palette are yellow, yellow-green, green, blue-green, and blue. So whenever you're using analogous colors, you're going to get a really nice harmony between the colors. So again, here are the 16 pages that are included in the collage papers for this palette. And let's go over what we did this week. So with the sampler page on Sampler Sunday, we created this mini collage. And I'll go into more detail on what we use for these in a moment. On Mandala Monday, we did the mandala, the Jeweled Leaves collection mandala. We used the palette from the Jeweled Leaves collection to create this floral design on Floral Wednesday. And then we finished off the week with Animal Friday using the Frog Collage Art Kit mixed with the Jeweled Leaves collection. Now I'd like to give you an overview of what collage papers we used on each collage. So for Sampler Sunday, we used the sampler page from the Jeweled Leaves collection, and that we used to create the background and some of the collage elements that we see cut out here. I also used our journaling page from the monthly journaling session and the intention that was created on the monthly journaling session. So I'm going to show you here. So this is from the journaling, the monthly journaling. And within that, we also decided on a word for the month, each of us. I decided on faith. So I played with different styles of writing in doing that. And then I also practiced or played around with different fonts and different size fonts. And then on Collage Tip Tuesday, I showed you a way to organize your pages document so that you can get your intentions on there, whether you want them small or large for your collages. So for this collage, I used my word and my intention. And in the background, you can see little strips of my journaled pages that I included in the collage. Now, if you didn't do the monthly journaling intention setting, you can still create beautiful collages. And I did do a number of little practice ones here, and I'll just go through them one by one. So just playing with the different colors, different ways to cut out the shapes, different ways to lay them out. So some I did diagonal, some up and down. Here I cut out a shape. So I'll just scroll through these. This one I did a sketch on, and on Sketch and Doodle Thursday, we do some really fun exercises with sketching plants. So as we advance through that, we can add those to our collages. And here's just a number of other ones I played with. Here I cut out circles and included those on there. And this is another variation using my word for the month and my intention with some florals doodled on there. So that's Sampler Sunday. And then now let's take a look at Mandala Monday. Here's the beautiful mandala from Mandala Monday. And this collage was created with just 3 printed papers. So the mandala shapes from the Jeweled Leaves Mandala Collage Art Kit. This mandala, there's actually a selection of 4 backgrounds for that. And then we used this full sheet from the collection along the edges and the borders. So in this session, we did the collaging. I showed you how to cut out the shapes on the outside of the black line so that they fit into the mandala template. And then also a suggestion to keep the background intact as much as you can so that you can do something like this, where you glue it back down onto a sheet of paper, and then you can add some doodles to that to use as collage fodder. Now, earlier in the day, we did a guided doodling session, and we explored lines and circles. And this is a really relaxing exercise to just play with mark making and shapes. And then once you do this, then moving on to getting into a relaxed flow when you're actually creating your mandala. These are the acrylic markers that we used when we created this mandala. So these go along with the color palette for this collection. So we have the yellows, the greens, the teals, and the blues, and then the black and white as well. And I didn't mention, but we also used these acrylic markers to add some doodles to the Sampler Sunday mini collage as well. So at the last thing that we did in Mandala Monday is I showed you how to add a really nice tight border and edge using the collage paper. This is done on a canvas panel. So this is a really nice finish to that. So you can learn how to do that at the end of that video. I also wanted to mention that from this one printed sheet, we have enough shapes to create 4 different collages. So you can, in fact, go ahead and explore collages, mandala collages with the other backgrounds. So there's 4 different half sheet or 4 different full sheets in this kit that have the mandala templates on them. And then the other thing that you could do with the excess shapes is to do what we did here and add them as fodder along the edges or wherever you'd like. You could also use them in your florals, your animal designs, or in your mini collages. So there are some ideas of what to do with the extra shapes. Now let's move on to Floral Wednesday. And actually, before we move on to Floral Wednesday, on Collage Tip Tuesday, so every Tuesday we have a tip. I've already mentioned what we did, but I just want to go in order. We did Sampler Sunday, Mandala Monday, and then Collage Tip Tuesday. And this is where we played around with the Pages document, coming up with really fun fonts and playing with the different sizes and getting our intentions lined up. And this is obviously something that you can do for any words or quotes or fun expressions that you want to put in your collages. So that was Collage Tip Tuesday. And now let's go on to Floral Wednesday. So moving on to Floral Wednesday, this was a really exciting one because I showed you the really great feature that we have with our printable collage kits. And that is we include the black and white templates for all of our designs so that you can mix and match with any collage paper that you want. So with the floral designs, since there's 4 clusters of petals, 4 bases for the small and 4 for the large, you can choose any of the quarter sheets from any of the collections to create this floral design. So within the Jeweled Leaves collection, there's 16 different papers. So there's 4 different quarter sheets in this collection. So any of these you can use to create your flowers and your bases. And what we ended up doing, before I say what we did, the way you do this, I show you step by step, but essentially you're going to pick your quarter sheet, print it, put it back in the printer, and then you'll choose this document on your computer and then print that, and it's going to print right on top of the quarter sheet. So for this collage here, we ended up using this for the flowers, and then I chose the same design for the small and large vases. I wanted to keep them within the same color palette and within the same value, meaning lightness and darkness. So I chose the same one. So for this collage, we printed a total of 1, 2, 3. These circles are to assemble the flowers. And then for the background, we ended up printing these 2 papers. So this was used here, and then this one was used here. And then we created these other elements from our scraps. So this, and this are from the scraps left over when we cut out the shapes here. So within that video, I showed you how to assemble flowers, which was a really fun process, and then how to assemble the collage. I went ahead and I did make flowers from all the other pages. So you can see now I have a really nice range of the grayscale, the lighter value flowers, and then the darker value pattern paper. So now I can explore a number of different collages there. And that was it for the florals. I hope you had fun with that. And if you haven't gotten to it, I hope that this inspires you to jump in Floral Wednesday and start creating there. So now let's move on to Sketch and Doodle Thursday. So here's my sketchbook, and this is what we worked on for Sketch and Doodle Thursday. What I did was I brought in some plants from outdoors. I set them up here, and then we did some sketching and just getting into a flow, not trying to be exact at all, just exploring mark making. I used a pen. You can use whatever you want. I like to commit to using a pen so that I'm not trying to be cautious or exact or wanting to erase anything. It's more about just getting into a flow and getting them on the page and putting them down in different directions. Just maybe exploring just lines, or exploring keeping the pen on the paper as you continue, which is called one-line drawing. So here's another plant that I explored with you. And then the last one that we did on that day was this one here, which was a lot of fun exploring. One of the things that I love doing with plants is taking them apart and just looking at the different pieces. So here we explored the little pieces here and drew them. And then just different variations with doing the whole branch here versus just taking a little segment. So this is a fun one, and I'll show you when I show you the frog one how we ended up I used this as inspiration to bring into my frog collage. So let's move on to Animal Friday. This is the frog collage that I ended up creating with you on Friday. And what I did is I showed you how to make the frogs in the Jeweled Leaves color palette. So we did the same thing as we did with the florals. We chose a quarter sheet, and again, there's 4 of them, and then printed the frog shapes on top of the quarter sheet. So the one that I had focused on for my collage was this one. So this is the layer technique that we use with a printer. We cut the shapes, again, trying to save the background so that we can use that as fodder, and then just arrange the shapes on the frog template to create the frogs. I also showed you a trick. Well, before I show you that, I showed you how to save them as master sheets. So here are the frogs that I created. I did them on all four of the quarter sheets. So these, and these I created. And these I'm keeping as my master because a lot of work went into cutting, pasting, and I may want to use them again. So I showed you how to make a copy of the original size, which is easy. You just put in the printer copy. So same size, but then We also use the feature on the printer to make them in 2 other sizes. This one's at 75%, and these little baby frogs are at 50%. So here are the different pages. These are what were left over from that. And I have these, which can be used in collage, as well as, I don't have it in front of me, but the cutout from the white, the outline, and I'll show that to you in a moment in another collage I did. So for this collage, we used 1, 2, and then the third is the background. And I'm going to grab that. So we use this for the background. So this is this, this is this. And then we started adding elements from earlier in the week. So we added the flowers here. And then this was exciting because we did the Sketch and Doodle Thursday, and we were able to use inspirations from that practice to add these weeds into this collage. And the last thing that I did here was to add the doodles, again, using the acrylic markers within the Jeweled Leaves collection color palette. And I'm going to grab another frog collage that I did on the side. So here's another example, and here I used the florals again. I used a larger frog. I used elements from the scrap pieces here. And then you can see right here is the scrap from the frog being cut out of the white paper. So this is a really fun thing to do when you're cutting them out of here, is to try to keep it as much in one piece so that you can actually use that as a shape in your collage. So I hope you enjoyed seeing all the things that we did this week. I'll show you one more thing that I still haven't completed, but we spent a lot of time creating this background, and I'm really looking forward to exploring it more later. I have a lot of collage fodder that I can use from the frogs, from the mandala, from the florals. So I will get to this, and maybe after we do some more background ideas with lightening up the background with acrylic paints, I might get back to that. So thank you for joining me for Creative Possibilities Recap, and I hope you join me next week when we explore the Teal Tango collection. Have a great day.